Hello everyone, my name is Elite Trader Kenway and I'm here to fix the National Dex. Now in case you missed it last week, we started part 1 of a 9-part series dedicated to answering a single question. Currently, the number of new Pokemon released per generation looks like this, but what if instead it looked like this? Last week, we reorganized Generation 1's Kanto region following 3 basic rules. And today, we're here to discuss Generation 2's Johto region. So let's talk about Generation 2. I really don't see the point in moving around any of the starter Pokemon, so our 3 Johto starters are going to stay the same. Then we have Venonat and Venomoth, Ladybug and Ledyenne, Spinarak and Ariados, Zubat, Golbat and Crobat, Natu and Xatu, Mareep, Flaaffy and Ampharos, Pachirisu, Oddish, Gloom, Vileplume, and Blossom. Like I said, we're trying to keep evolutionary lines together as best we can. Scyther and Scizor, Eevee, Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, Espeon, Umbreon, Leafeon, and Glaceon, utilizing the Ice Stone and the Leaf Stone, of course. Slowpoke, Slowbro, and Slowking, Onix and Steelix, Horsey, Seadra, and Kingdra, Happiny, Chansey, and Blissey, Lickitung and Lickilicky, Tangela and Tangrowth, Chinchou and Lantern, and here we're implementing a new rule that I purposefully didn't mention last week because I wanted it to be a surprise. I feel like the original Generation 2 Johto region did not do enough to showcase the day and night cycle. So to better showcase the day-night cycle in Generation 2, we're also going to change up the mechanics of regional variants. So you have your regular Rattata and Raticate as well as Meowth and Persian all debuting in Generation 2. However, if a Rattata egg or Meowth egg hatches at night, it's going to hatch into an Alolan Rattata or an Alolan Meowth. But of course, we're not going to call them Alolan Pokemon. Instead, we're going to call them Night Pokemon. So by breeding 2 Meowths and hatching the egg at night, you get a Night Meowth, which evolves into a Night Persian, and the same thing goes for Rattata and Raticate. Then we have Murkrow and Honchkrow, Scorpy and Drapion, Mischievous and Mismagius, Pineco and Forretress, Gligar and Gliscor, Chingling and Chimecho, Tauros and Miltank because they should have been introduced together to begin with, Azurill, Marill and Azumarill, Wynaut and Wobbuffet, Feebas and Milotic, and since beauty wasn't a thing in Generation 2, Feebas evolved with happiness just like Eevee. And then we have Magikarp and Gyarados making their debut in Generation 2, and the reason that I want this to happen, because take yourself back to being 10 or 11 years old playing Generation 2 or Generation 4 Remake. Imagine if the very first time you saw Gyarados was the red Gyarados at the Lake of Rage. A lot of older Pokemon fans already hold on to that memory of the first time they saw red Gyarados at the Lake of Rage. Having that be the first time you ever see a Gyarados, in my opinion, would make that memory that much stronger. Then we have Mantike and Mantine, Remoraid and Octillery, Tentacool and Tentacruel, Seal and Dugong, Phanpy and Donphan, Swinub, Piloswine and Mamoswine, Tyrogue, Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee and Hitmontop, Aeron, Lairon, and Aggron because I feel like we do need more Steel types in Generation 2, Larvitar, Pupitar, and Tyranitar. I believe Heatran should be in the Cinnabar Volcano in the post-game. And as I alluded to last week, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres should make their debut in Generation 2 alongside Lugia, Ho-Oh, and Mew. Because Mewtwo was the final boss of Generation 1, Mew should be the final boss of Generation 2. Right then, so let's move on to Gym Leaders and the Elite Four. Faulkner should have Natu and Ledyenne. Bugsy should have Venonat, Spinarak, and Scyther. Whitney should have Meowth and Miltank. Morty should have Ghastly, Mischievous, Haunter, and Mismagius. Chuck should have Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee. Jasmine should have Aeron, Scizor, and Steelix. Price should have Seal, Dugong, and Piloswine. Claire should have Seadra, Dragonair, Blue Gyarados, and Kingdra. Because how cool would that be if the only Gyarados you saw in your entire very first playthrough of Gold and Silver was red? And then you get to Claire's gym and she has a blue Gyarados. If I was 10 years old and I experienced that, that would absolutely blow my mind. Moving on to the Elite Four. Will should have Xatu, Jinx, Slowbro, Grumpig, and Xatu. Koga should have Ariados, Toxicroak, Forretress, Crobat now, and Drapion. Bruno should have Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, Hitmontop, Machamp, and Tyranitar. Karen should have a Night Persian, Umbreon, Vileplume, Gengar, and Honchkrow. Lance should have Gyarados, Dragonite, Aerodactyl, Charizard, and Flygon. So that's pretty much it. Here is our Reimagined Generation 2. And again, here's our Reimagined Generation 1. And if somehow you missed the Gen 1 video and want to go back and rewatch it, you can watch it right here. And I'm going to link the entire playlist right here, which eventually will include all 9 generations. That's it for me, you guys. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next Saturday. Peace.